Hello, Bill Claudza here. Welcome to a Rivals of Ixalan draft with an interesting first pack. We've got a foil rare and a mythic rare, which takes extra turns, and Legion's Lieutenant, which can power up any vampire deck. I've never gone deep with this type of card. It might be worth trying to just build a vampire deck and include the Lieutenant over trying this random stuff. So I'm going to go for that here. You don't always get foil elemental tokens, but we'll just have to pass up on that this time. And no good follow-up for vampires. Legion, Conquistador, not something you want to spend this high of a pick on. 2 Deadeye Rig Haulers. Yeah, it's a shame to go deep into 2 colors here and just not get rewarded for it. Relentless Raptor is another neat one we could pick here. Powerful. I think we pick that up here. So now we could go in either of these directions, not feel too bad about it. Bombard helps solidify us into one of the directions. It protects the Raptor in that this thing has to attack and block. So if they attack in with a 2/2 and a +2/+2 trick, then they could just expect that, you know, you auto block it and they blow you out with the trick. But having ways to clear creatures means your Raptor will survive a little more. Death Spitter could be the pick here. Jungleborn Pioneer, also very good, but Death Spitter definitely works in this aggro style red-white deck. Pick up a few more of these dinosaurs and we have Shake the Foundations, which goes along the same kind of strategy here. It certainly works really well with the Death Spitter. It also clears a bunch of early merfolk and vampire style things. So it is solid in the format. And it's instant too, which is easy to forget. A lot of times these effects are sorcery, but you can just run this out at the end of their turn as a cantrip when you have nothing else to do with your mana. Tomb Robber is a neat rare, but it starts a bit small, and discarding cards is a real cost, so it's more of like a late game engine, and I just haven't seen it do much unless you're already winning or it's a stall, kind of like a Rummaging Goblin. I mean, it's powerful, but I'd rather be drawing cards than exploring in the late game. Evolving Wilds here, and Stampeding Horncrest. The Horncrest works well with what we have so far. It's no charging Monstrosaur, but it will have haste. Still, I'm going to go for Evolving Wilds here. I don't want a deck without one of these, especially when we have a 2-drop 2-color card early. This can really help you out if you start with Evolving Wilds in your hand, plus any land in your colors. Mutiny. Mutiny could be good. Knight of the Stampede might also be interesting, the direction we're going here. But I'll take Mutiny, cut red a bit. White is just not open at all. Sorry, Legion Lieutenant. We should have taken the foil rare to get our tokens going. But even those would all die to Shake the Foundations. Now we have Strider Harness and Cleansing Ray for the sideboard. This is so good out of the sideboard that I just want to pick it up here. Another option would be Giltgrove Stalker, because red-green aggro is another powerful archetype. Dinosaur Hunter a little less interesting for the combination we have going here, but I'll take the Cleansing Ray. It just kills all the big vampires that you care about, and sometimes you need to bring it in for the enchantment removal, kind of the definition of a good sideboard card here. This is a good pack to see because there's a lot we could take. The Firebrand, it's nice to have one of these in your deck. Tillinolly's Crown gets dangerous with a few big dinosaurs, and Squire's Devotion, practically unbeatable if it goes unanswered on a Relentless Raptor. And that is just the card I want here. You can never have too many devotions because it doesn't set you up so badly for a blowout. Even if they deal with the Relentless Raptor, you probably got the 4 lifelink in, and you probably got the 1/1 token to survive as well. So all of that adds up to a nice card here. Highland Lake? Shoot, I don't want to play Rauska Raptor in any of my decks, and 4-drops aren't so hard to get. So I'm just going to take Highland Lake here in case blue becomes a thing we want. Blazing Hope. This card was used on me once, but that was at the pre-release, and I just haven't seen it since. It's just too conditional. I guess if you're doing badly, you do want this effect. I will take Shatter here. White doesn't have a good way to deal with enchantments. Or sorry, artifacts. And red doesn't have a good way to deal with enchantments, so sometimes Shatter could come in from the sideboard, and now we have one, so we don't have to worry about that. Relic. Plummet. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll have a flyer. And we don't want our opponent to plummet it. This draft just really wants us to have a Canal Monitor, so we get one. Eating his fish. It looks like a fishtail hanging out of his mouth, but yeah, again, it's probably a remnant of a goblin, judging by the flavor text. What do we have here? Different and good options. We could take the solid, and I don't want to look at the poisoner because we're really not in black here, and we're not in so deep into pirates either. So I'm looking at Daring Buccaneer, which also requires some pirates, Famished Paladin, which would work with Squire's Devotion, just another 3/3 big huge thing, and Goblin Trailblazer, leaving Moment of Triumph and Suncrested Pterodon by the wayside. Even Buccaneer's Bravado, while fine, doesn't work so well with the things we have going on here. Yeah, actually, I'm going to take the Famished Paladin. It looks a bit strange, but it just does its job so well. And we do have the Squire's Devotion. So maybe we'll pick up another good way to gain life and we'll be in business. Luminous Bonds. Some strange white uncommons here that are just a little too small for what we want to do. And the Bonds, which helps get all of our creatures through. More Frilled Death Spitters. If you make a line of these guys, eventually your opponent just gets so low that you can attack with all of them and win. It's just also so good with our Shake the Foundations. So I'm happy to pick that up. Paladin, what else can we get here? Strider Harness, we've got our Heliopterus. If any deck wanted it, maybe this one is that deck. Strider Harness is also very good. It's too bad it doesn't give Vigilance for something like Famished Paladin, but it does not. It could give our Relentless Raptor haste, and that's a big game. I'm not really looking at the Glorifier. It just isn't a good rate if you can't put the 1/1 counter on, and you need to put it on most of the time for it to be good. And we just have two sources of vampires here. Not actual vampires, but just sources of them. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Heliopterus. It has the biggest chance of making it to our main deck, and we just do have all of these powerful early dinosaurs that this acts like a nice cobbled wings for, even if it's not that good of a card in general. Tough one here. We have a couple dinosaurs, but our deck really isn't dinosaur tribal by any means. Maybe Enrage. And the Stormfleet Swashbuckler becomes such a huge threat. Doesn't need much help, just becomes a 4/2 in the late game effectively that can't be blocked by 2/2s. Any tricks you do have make it that much better. It's especially good with the +3/+1 and or +3/+0 and Trample enchantment if it survives. So that'll be the pick here over just random average dinosaurs. And average is an overstatement, I think. But ooh, a Mistbinder, cool to see. Conquistador, potential number 2 Conquistador. Yeah, now we will take one of our little average dinosaurs, because it doesn't feel average when this thing is attacking you with haste, and you don't have much of a defense set up. Then it feels above average. Second Evolving Wilds over the first Traveler's Amulet. I like that. Evolving Wilds are just so good. It doesn't take up a spot in your deck. It doesn't take time to use. Well, that's not true. It does take a little time to use. It comes into play tapped. But the Amulet just takes even more of your resources to get going. Alright, here, instead of taking the potential fixing for a card we open in pack 3, I will take this moment of triumph. Anytime you are on the aggro plan with these, I'll call them fragile dinosaurs, and you can support a block that would trade with them with a trick, it just becomes ridiculous, because their effects for staying in play are very powerful. And this guy has to come in, so it hides the fact that you might have a trick or not. If it didn't have to come in, it would be a giveaway if you attack into some bigger creature, but yeah, the chances that your opponent blocks when you attack in go way up. Goblin Trailblazer is back. Look at how many pirates we have. Not too many. So I'm going to take the Trailblazer over Bravado here, just to get that early aggro in. You might take that early in a pack anyway, just to make sure you get the creatures you need. But the Bravado, while a solid trick, is much less good if it doesn't become a burn spell for 5 in the late game. Assuming one of your pirates gets in. Sun-Collared Raptor, not one I'm excited to put in most of my decks, but it's a dinosaur. And if you pump 6 mana into it in the late game, it becomes a big burn spell, and it's got a frog in the art, so maybe you always play one for that reason. Knight of the Stampede. We definitely don't want another Shatter. I can't imagine bringing 2 of those in. But we don't want any of this other stuff. The highest payoff here is maybe the Knight. Yeah, I really can't imagine opening a card in the last pack that would make us go into green. Maybe as a splash. A super late Jungleborn Pioneer means green is open to some extent. Not the best green card I've seen table, but close to it. Wow, this foil Blazing Hope, practically swords to plowshares, and a Stampeding Horncrest, which will be good in our deck. You don't want too many of this, and you can get other good 5-drops. But if you look at our curve, it's just a nice way to finish games. No flashy abilities besides haste most of the time. And it does work well with the Heliopterus. The Heliopterus is not insane on its own, but the presence of these hasty dinosaurs does make it better. Even if you're throwing it into a 2/3 flyer, the 4 damage just gets in. You just throw your dinosaurs at them until they lose. Fling would be an absurd card in this format. What powerful card do we open up in pack 3? Apparently nothing. Arcane Adaption is a miss. There are some neat things you can try to do with it, because creature types matter, and maybe a bunch of random creatures being the right type could give you some payoffs that are worth a card, or more than a card. The Looter, the uncommons are good, Tempest Caller, but not things that we have access to with our mana base. And then there's just Brazen Buccaneers, which comes in with haste, and that's the theme of our deck so far. The other card to look at would be Sure Strike, because that supports these tricks. But it's even better with Trample, and we don't have much Trample. So we'll have to rely on our haste to get that extra damage in. Entrancing Melody, another good one. And Demolish, since we didn't pick up our second copy of Shatter. That could be a good one. And Kinjali's Collar. Not what I usually go to when I'm building an aggro deck. But if you look at our curve, if we put a turn 1 Kinjali's Collar into play, that could be a lot of damage by turn 4. Just a Death Spitter into Horncrest, and we have doubles of those. What else do we have? I guess we have 5 or 6 dinosaurs that benefit from the cost reduction, and I'm not a huge fan of Trove in this deck. Trove needs a couple things. It needs things you want your opponent to tack into, and it needs something to ramp into, and if you have both of those, Trove can be very good for your deck. Oh, hello. Here's why we picked those Evolving Wilds for this Regisaur Alpha. Easily splashable and well worth it. Our big dinosaurs already have haste, but sure, get in our deck. We take a good card like that and the next pack doesn't even load. It's just so overwhelmed. Tillinolli's Knight, perfect. That'll be an upgrade to most of our 2-drops, in fact. The only thing close would be Stormfleet Swashbuckler. But we can just make anything a Swashbuckler if we take Swashbuckling. Imagine putting that on a Death Spitter. It'd be so hard to trade with. Or a Relentless Raptor. Yeah, I'll go for the foil Swashbuckling. Swashbuckling is back. Unfriendly Fire to finish things up. Or Fire Shrine Keeper to get things started. To finish or to start, who knows. Queen's Commission, also not terrible in a deck like this. We are running Shake the Foundations, which doesn't matter too much, but it does make it a little worse, and I like the Keeper here. Pyromancer, happy to pick that up. Hijack is interesting here too. Yeah, I'll go with the Pyromancer. Any card that can let you attack a small creature into a larger creature has a lot of value, because that tends to be what it comes down to in a lot of games. So if you just have a bunch of 3/3s and your opponent plays 1 4/4, then your deck can't do anything, even if those 3/3s are super efficient. Like your whole deck is a bunch of Relentless Raptors or something. Sounds great, but you would trade one of those for a trick, just so you can win some games that would otherwise be unwinnable. Diversify your threats. Alright, Elaborate Fire Cannon. We might need to cut this Famished Paladin as I'm looking at it. We've got 2 ways of gaining life. Oops, I said 2 ways of gaining life. And we're mostly red early anyway. And that's not enough ways. Sure, you can leave it back on defense, but our deck doesn't want to do that. This is the point where we could consider moving into green-red. I'm not sure that that would be better. Gosh, we're just not picking up anything. I'll take Verdant Rebirth here over Prying Blade, because I'm not a huge fan of the blade. In this case, Crash the Ramparts, yeah, another good trick to support what we have going on. So we've got Pioneer. Knight of the Stampede does make a bit more sense. Cost reduction on a lot of our stuff. New Horizons, shoot, I don't want to give up on the Relentless Raptor. We don't need to give up on it because we do have double Evolving Wilds, and that makes the mana a lot better. Take out Kinjali's Collar though. If we're not going to have reliable early white, then it's not worth the headache. Belligerent Brontodon. I don't want to splash a double off color, especially when some of our creatures are a little more powerful than tough. Are they? Maybe not. Well, some of them. Goblin Trailblazer becomes a blank if you play Belligerent Brontodon. It looks like we are in green now. I'll still splash a few of these white cards, maybe 4, and then we can play New Horizons, which ramps us up to the 5 mana we need. A couple of these good tricks, and even Knight of the Stampede, although I actually like just curving out into these things. Instead of, I mean, you're already paying 4 for this on turn 4, so you don't really get ramp to turn 5 stuff. You can do 2 things on turn 5 or 6, but yeah, I mean, it's at the cost of having this guy. So what is this? Any terrible cards here to consider cutting? Not really. Well, maybe this is the curve we want. Let's see. It's a pretty low curve. And we have some ramp with the New Horizons. And we've got the double Evolving Wild, so we could probably get away with 16 lands in this deck, even though we're 3 colors. Yeah, I'm greedy enough to do that. 15... 17... 5, 4... 3, 3... And all of our off-color cards are 1. And our early stuff looks to be white. A little more. I'll try something like this. It's funny to splash for your fixing like New Horizons, but that's not the only thing it does. It also comes in and pumps a creature. And there are games where it'll just ramp us up to 5 nicely. What a weird deck. But that's the type of thing you just can't do. We'd have to play a lower power deck if we didn't have these Evolving Wilds. We just have to choose between white and green, and now we don't really have to. So we can play all our Squire's Devotions and Regisaur Alphas. It'll still take some lucky draws, but they won't have to be that lucky. It'll be smooth. Round 1. I guess we keep this hand. It has Evolving Wilds to get our red to start off with. And it doesn't get our turn 1 Fire Shrine Keeper, but that's okay. Falls MQ. Make sure we get the right color here. Probably draw another red anyway. No, not right away. Mutiny is a funny one. Super efficient trick for 1 mana, and I've never been sad about what I've been able to kill. It's just so efficient that you can't really be sad about it. 16 lands, too few. Really, I guess we have 14 basics and these Evolving Wilds, which fetch and thin your deck. Pirate's Cutlass. There is our shatter target. Oh, come on. Come on, deck. All we need is that 3rd land. And then the 4th land. And then the 5th land. But that's all we need. We just need 3 more lands. Is that too much to ask? 3 lands in a row? Sure. That is going to be problematic. Except we can get past it with our Menace. Oh, there we go. Almost. The irony. So we have to play the Raptor, and I guess we just trade it with their Hoarder. If they want. Menace comes in. Can't block that now. And then we'll play our little chump blocker. In fairness, it does trade, but you feel like you're giving up a lot of value when you trade with a Hoarder. And they'll have 6 mana. Possibly a trick. A lot of cheap tricks would win combat here, and then they just have their 4/2 left in play. I mean, do they not want to attack? Come on. And they played the swamp here, so they're up to 6. Could easily be 2 creatures, and then our Fire Shrine Keeper is not a very effective attacker. Land. Perfect. They're not going to flash a creature in. That's not true. They could flash in a black 2/2. It's rare, but it would be kind of free for them to get that in there. Death Spitter does a nice job of trading with the Dinosaur Hunter without losing value, whereas a bigger dinosaur loses a ton of value against a 2/2. Impale that guy. Yep. Sounds about right. They'll start winning the race again because they're getting hits of 4 and we've only been hitting for 1 every turn. But land is perfect off the top here. That lets us draw towards another land. Oh, and the forest is perfect. Forest gives us our Regisaur Alpha, which will turn the tides back in our favor, because they still hit for more than we hit for here. But once we have our 7 power in play, Water Knot doesn't really slow us down much because of haste and things like that. But they'll come in with this, and if they re-equip the Cutlass, that's a little scary. What are they grabbing here? Brazen Buccaneers. Pretty good. Maybe they re-equip the Cutlass to the Seeker's Squire, or they hold up counter magic. I'm not sure what this is going to be. Annoying is what it's going to be. Because we can't quite do it all this turn. We don't have enough mana. Okay, so we play Regisaur Alpha. We attack for 3. They trade with Brazen Buccaneers. And we just don't have any mana left up. We could Mutiny to kill something, to kill the Brazen Buccaneers. And then play Goblin Trailblazer and use Moment of Triumph on our attack. That sounds appealing to me. First target, second target. The Heliopterus is neat with haste because we could do our trick and attack for 5 in the air next turn. But this is going to be better because we'll get to attack this turn. And they're not threatening lethal next turn, not with Water Knot. So we'll use the moment here. They've only got 1 card left. I doubt it will interfere with us. And there's more you can represent with 1 red than 1 green, certainly. That instant speed. Water Knot takes down a 2/1. That's pretty good news. I'll take it. So we're at 10, and they just have no blockers here. Well, they don't know about this guy. They should have known. Why else would we splash green? Six, just cutting them in half here and having a blocker back for the 4/3 makes sense. Like if they play a red mana here, I would definitely block. Splashing for Buccaneers Bravado. I think they're just dead. Let's find out. No double white over there. So I'll amend what I said in the past about having to always play around Settle the Wreckage. You don't have to play around Settle the Wreckage if they don't have double white. Cool. Game 1. Time to bring in Shatter. Shatter is very good against equipment as a combat trick. And it would be a shame if they only had the one target for it, which is possible, but it wouldn't be too embarrassing because it is so good against that one card. Just the opportunity for a clean 2-for-1. What do we take out though? New Horizons could be a cut. Because what is that really doing in this deck? Just taking up space. And by the time we draw green, we're going to want to spend it on something else. Cool. And only 4 green sources in the deck, if you look at the Evolving Wilds. Very timely green off the top in Game 1. And not a bad time for green in Game 2. It's just a colorless source until we draw a green card, but that is fine when we have our main color here. We'd love for this to be a Plains, but I don't mind just playing out the Trailblazer early. In fact, the green is going to be late enough that I'll just play the double red for now. Like if we draw Mutiny and Plains at some point, then we might want the red in there. I guess it couldn't actually matter. Don't we have any one-drop things? I don't know. But it might. It certainly won't matter having our green in now. Alright, what now? We've got 3 power on defense over there. Or 3 power and 3 toughness. So if we use Swashbuckling, that doesn't do it. I don't just want to attack this in now, when it could be more powerful later. And in the interest of mana efficiency, let's go the Death Spitter. It could be nice to attack our 3/3 in next turn, but if we draw any mana, this could set us up for 2 things next turn. No guarantee we'll be able to attack even with a 3/3. Quartermaster, so they will get their, well, our Shatter target. Where did they get this island? Oh, with the Seeker Squire, got it. Not paying attention here. Yeah, once again, Swashbuckling runs into the deal where they can just trade 2 creatures for R2. And go for the long game. Playing for the long game. And Cutlass is going to be a true menace this game, so I'm waiting to draw our Shatter as soon as possible. Everything will just trade up from now on. They put on... it's surprising to see it on the Quartermaster, I guess. For now, we'll just have to trade off our stuff. Come on, Shatter. Could either use Amulet here or re-equip, and re-equipping makes sense. Raptor, obviously, and then the real question here is, do we use Swashbuckling? The answer is kind of no. 5. We could use Swashbuckling on Tillinolly's Knight. That attacks as a 5/5, it trades with both, and sets up the way for the rest of our stuff. I'm going to go for that. And then we can even use Goblin Trailblazer here to get in a nice hit. And leave back the Raptor, so if we draw land, we have haste next turn. Of course, we leave back the Raptor, we just played it, thinking everything has haste. Not the case. And fair enough. Yeah, this block is good, it makes sense. The only nice part about it for us, since both have practically drawn a card, is that they have no creatures on the table this turn. Any creature they draw, they can likely make it a big sword-wielding creature. But it's nice. Well, we have a menace creature on the table, so we can probably get some more damage in. Sailor of Means. Well, that's a good one. Crack a treasure to make it a big guy. No, they don't have enough mana to get there. So land would be great. That means we can just attack with everything here. Unfortunately, trading the Horncrest for a Dinosaur Hunter. No, there's no way they double block our menace creature. I mean, please do. Please do. We could have... maybe that was wrong. We could have just attacked with both there without playing the Horncrest. And then the likely block is just trade with our Raptor. Then our Horncrest won't have haste the next turn. That's a tough one. 3, they're getting a raid trigger in here. Otherwise, I mean, they're not winning the race, so... And they do have red. They can bounce our 1-2, which might have attacked that turn. Moment of Triumph, the only thing we can do here. Now we could really think about holding back on defense. But the Squire's Devotion and Moment of Triumph do a really good job of winning the race. And I guess I don't mind trying to trade our Raptor with this. Hopefully that works. Yeah. Granted, it could get us some more trample in there, but we're trading up, preventing some damage. Tomb Robber, that thing's going to value... Well, it's going to get a lot of value this game. Exploring Interloper to the top, and they can discard the rest of their hand to give it plus power. There we go. Shatter Time. 2 menace creatures passing in the night here. Yeah, we'll just use this on their turn, so instead of doing 3 damage, they're down to... Or instead of doing 5, they're down to 3. Come on, white mana. White mana, well, 2 of our sources of white mana come in tapped, which is a problem. Impale on the top. Protean Raider. Not our game to win. White off the top. Well, that could be worse. I don't think we're winning this game. Even our Shatter didn't save us. Let's keep our menace creature in play. Shake the Foundations. Whoops, I guess I chose the wrong creature to keep in play. We know what they have on top, so they could easily pump this up to a 3/3, and I wouldn't mind that. If they're smart, they just take it. They heard me. Oh well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, pass here. Six. It's only 6. Now I don't even want to use Shake the Foundations. But I will if they use Impale, of course. Nope, not going to give them the satisfaction. We're going to kill our guy before. Shoot, there we go. A little too late. Unclear we'd beat that draw anyway. Shatter was good, and they have two, well, effectively two artifacts because they have the tutor for it. They might take it out. I guess I doubt they would take it out, but if they really only have one equipment, they could take the equipment and the thing out to make Shatter a dead card. I don't expect that. We'll submit like this. Elaborate Fire Cannon would do well against most of their creatures. We'll just have to try to curve out here. Curve out with our 1/2. Good news. It is 4 damage on turn 3. Assuming we have nothing better to do, which looks likely. Dire Fleet Hoarder. They would love to trade here, and I guess we don't have to. Swashbuckling time. Good draw. Very good draw. This thing just gets harder and harder to deal with. They need some double blocks, or they could get their Cutlass out, and that would do a nice job. Sailor of Means does not do it. It doesn't even really block this thing. Because we just pump it. Oh boy. Buccaneers. Now they can block it, unfortunately, but it's worth it to get the Buccaneers in play. Next turn we'll have Regisaur Alpha. This will be a tough draw to beat. They might bounce our Collared Raptors here. To be fair, they could have done that last turn, and they didn't. No, they couldn't have. I'm sorry, last turn was their turn 3. They played a 4th land here. Yeah, Regisaur Alpha time. I don't want to see our Alpha get impaled. It's not the end of the world, because we'll still have an attacker next turn. Why wouldn't they block extra 2 damage? Who knows? But they don't want to. That one block was just so appealing for them that they forgot about everything else, all other considerations. Pirate's Cutlass on top. So if we ever draw Shatter, it will be a live card. Alright. Crash the Ramparts. There's a draw. We could play Collared Raptor and just attack with that this turn. There's a lot going on here. If we attack out right now without doing anything first, the most likely response is block Buccaneers with Dire Fleet Hoarders and double block the Regisaur Alpha. And the reason I'm looking at that is if we want to play our Mountain and Sun-Collared Raptors first, or not, and just leave up Crash the Ramparts and play the Sun-Collared Raptors second, because getting that 1 damage in doesn't matter. And holding up extra mana won't help fight any of the counterspells they could have. So we'll attack here. 6. They can't even go all in on blocking the Regisaur Alpha here because Crash the Ramparts is just so good. And this block also makes sense. 5, we could end up killing a couple things here if we want to use our or Crash the Ramparts. Does it save it though? 5, 3, 4, 5, no, it won't save it. We could use it next turn for some more effect. Let's save it. But the next question is, what do we do with our Pyromancer? We could leave well enough alone, we could kill the Sailor of Means, and we could kill the Direfleet Interloper. That'll be a 5-4 next turn, which is big. Maybe we want to take away as much toughness as we can. Makes sense to me. Killing a 1-4 instead of a 3-3. Wilds, they know we're going to get a Plains, but no reason to spoil the fun quite yet. Options here, we knew Cutlass was coming up. They want their 5-4. And they want an attack. Well, we don't have a block, so that is all fine. Another Dire Rig Hauler. No, Deadeye Quartermaster. So, do they have a second Cutlass? No, that was their only Cutlass. Or maybe they have their last artifact in hand. We'll get a Plains here. And it's looking good for the home team. Raptor has haste. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could take 9 on the crackback if they don't die. This is a lethal attack, so they have to make at least a block. If they want to team up on Regisaur Alpha, 3, 4, we win that. If they just block here, and here we win that. Yeah, I think we just win this. Actually, they have one block that survives Crash the Ramparts. Not blocking the Regisaur Alpha. Blocking Deadeye Quartermaster on the Pyromancer. Oh no, that doesn't even do it, because we give that trample, and the extra power gets through. So, lethal attack. We got there. We got there. I just can't use the Ramparts pre-blocks because then they just chump the non-trample thing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry. Wasn't gonna survive that. On to match 2. Starting with a good hand. A very good hand. Unfortunately, if we get our third color with Evolving Wilds, we can't run out Relentless Raptor on turn 2. So maybe we'll draw Forest, but if we don't, I'm just going to save this Evolving Wilds as a tapped land for later. But that's a bit awkward, you have to admit. Dinosaur Hunter. Dinosaur Hunter. That's even more awkward. because we'd have to block with our Relentless Raptor and trade. Oh well, let's get our Buckler out there. Yeah, and maybe use Mutiny on the Hunter before we have to attack into it. Or just this. If they have the +1/+1 trick, then so be it. A little less common in black, green maybe. Try to get our Relentless Raptor in there at all costs. Thunderhead Migration. Just 2 colors still. Maybe it's a Tetzimok deck, and they were wondering whether to reveal it immediately or wait a bit. Oh no. Here's where they have the spell that exiles a creature with power 3 or less. So I'm going to play around that again by not putting Evolving Wilds into play. This poor Evolving Wilds is never going to hit the board, is it? Grazing Whiptail. Well, that doesn't matter too much. This doesn't have haste. We have to attack in here. So it's Luminous Bonds versus Moment of Triumph. Oh, I guess we're committed. Now we'll get our green. And now they'll exile it with their spell. But we got a little value here. We traded for a 4-drop, and we opened the skies for our Heliopterus. They did have a 3rd color. They just wanted double black for some reason. Tetzimok. Must be. Definitely Tetzimok. Contract Killing. Can't stop that. Hardly a veteran that we're worried about. Represent more white tricks here. Then I imagine Mutiny will be able to kill something, and we'll just get in for some damage here. We're winning the race in the short term. That is one we'll have to put the bonds on. Mutiny is not very exciting. Oh, it's not very exciting. It does kill this 2/2, or this, whatever, but it's cheap enough that I'm not worried about running it out here. I don't know. We could play around different cards by playing out our stuff, but I think they're both fine in our hand for now. We play our land to play around discard 2 cards, and we leave our land in hand to play around discard 1 card. And then we play Mutiny actually to play around both. Recover, getting back Grazing Whiptail, so it'll take them a turn to get that in play again. And Mutiny might help kill that, but probably not. It'll certainly help kill it, but we'll lose our Heliopterus in the process. Just be thankful for the damage in we're getting in early. Oh, this deck is going to be good. Their deck is going to have things like Chupacabra and Tetzimok. I can only imagine. So what's the big play here? I think I like coming in with everything. No, I don't like coming in with Heliopterus. But I like coming in with these two. And just using Mutiny to finish off the Whiptail, which will definitely block the Tillinolly's Knight. Oh, they're just gonna do everything there. Oh, that's interesting. They are not playing around Mutiny. Now we can kill both. Haha, never play around Mutiny. That worked out well. Shoot. Crested Herd Caller. Okay, it's not working out well anymore. Okay, it's working out well again. Easy. Easy game. So we get 5 in the air. Multiple forms of evasion all day. Next turn we get another 6 in the air. And that could be lethal, actually, with our Goblin Trailblazer. They need to find something. Here's Chupacabra, or just an Impale. Death Spitter. That won't have haste. Might as well play it anyway. Take it down to 2. And that's an awkward life total against a frilled Death Spitter, to be sure. Tetzimok doesn't save them here. Nothing has prey counters on it yet. They have a lot of removal. Plenty of removal and a couple annoying flyers. I want to put in Plummet. Black could also have more flyers, but it's enough that they have a 3/4 blocker. That's about as best as Heliopterus can be as well, so lucky there. New Horizons, not... Again, I'm not such a fan of New Horizons in this situation. And Fire Cannon doesn't kill most of their things, so let's go without New Horizons. Alright. A little bit of aggro early and Mutiny, and they're mulliganing. So we've got a chance. Plummet. The sideboard tech rearing its ugly head. Zealot. Oh, that doesn't reveal anything, does it? There we go. Evolving Wilds to help us out this next turn. I probably should have just played Mountain there. Why did they not attack? Why didn't they attack there? I don't know. They should have attacked. Because they can't block. And they just don't care about the damage, I guess. Or they're tilting. Because they can't find their colors. Weird. Because leaving one guy back certainly doesn't dissuade us from attacking. Oh, they've got their colors. Well, so do we, alright? And we also have Crash the Ramparts to support our Relentless Raptor. And Mutiny, if we want to do it all. Mutiny kills the Dusk Legion Zealot, and that's it. So that's not very appealing. And if they double block the Trailblazer, Relentless Raptor gets in for free. Oh god, if they have Skullduggery here, they're going to blow us out, because they double block Trailblazer, we crash the Ramparts, the Trailblazer. And then they block Relentless Raptor on this thing. That's too much. Should we play around Skullduggery? I don't want to play around Skullduggery. Actually, that would be fine, because then we don't use Crash the Ramparts, we just trade. Yeah, I lied. Skullduggery wouldn't be that bad here, unless we went, if they went for that block and we went for Crash the Ramparts immediately. Yeah, this is more likely, and Skullduggery doesn't save them from Crash the Ramparts. Bam. Trample is a nice touch. Wilds. Not that we need anything else. I guess we could find our second green so that plummet plus green card is possible in a given turn. And we have plenty of red. Twilight Prophet. All right, plummet. It turns out plummet is excellent. This is going to be the saddest panda that you've ever seen. Why not? Let's swashbuckle up something. This thing. And I wanted to be cute here, but it looks like our attacks work out better if we just plummet this immediately. Not that they're going to expose that to our Relentless Raptor in a trick. But they might, you never know. Main deck plummet. Well, main deck now, sideboard for game 1. In the finals versus Baron MW, and we'll be on the play with our semi-aggressive deck with another nice start brought to you by Evolving Wilds. It's just whatever you need it to be all the time. We might hold off on it. We could get our turn 1 Fire Shrine Keeper down. And then risk drawing a forest, but that's not even the end of the world. Yeah, let's do it. It's never going to be better than it is right now, and the extra damage adds up in our deck. It gives us the option also of using Swashbuckling here, but the haste on this means it can be a live draw a lot later in the game too. Oh shoot, I F6'd. Ooh, F3, thanks, just in time. Forest here, they're playing Trailblazer. Trailblazer. Pioneer, I guess that makes them think twice before attacking. This also uses up our limited resource of green. The Death Spitter, maybe it's close there, I don't know. This just gives us a little more ability to go wide. And they're holding back on defense. What does that mean? That means they want to trade off with the Pioneer. They've got blue and red stuff up. I'm fine if they trade with our Pioneer. I'm not going to use Swashbuckling here to get blown out by a bounce spell. Not me. They'll take it all. I don't understand these sequences. Well, I guess if they just value their Trailblazer more than our Pioneer, and they don't mind taking damage, then it does make sense. It all makes sense. Counterspell, no. Counterspell counters target spell. What is this? Ouch, Bombard? They really wanted us to use our Swashbuckling there on like the Pioneer. Oh well. 1 Bombard down, and it cost them 2 life. I guess they're the aggressive deck. It hasn't really shown itself yet. Horncrest. Horncrest will be good eventually. I'm gonna just make a 4/4. It's the only real attacker that makes sense. Keeper attacking trades with a 1/1 hexproof, which is fine. But yeah, the dual shot would have gotten us pretty well there. They double block this guy and kill the keeper and this guy with dual shot. Trade 3 for 2, I guess. Oh no! Oh, where's our white mana? We could prevent all of this. It was all preventable. Menace. I don't want to trade both my creatures off there. We need something better. We need a land and a white land. And for them not to have Burning Sun's avatar. Is that too much to ask? Sure. I don't want that hexproof in the way. Yay, a creature. Oh, we lost, by the way. We lost. They also have this clone, Protean Raider. Thank goodness they cloned a 2/2 instead of a 6/6 that has punished the enemy. I'm just going to take this. So we are dead. And how do we beat this nonsense? Shatter, that's our key. No, not Shatter, not Famished Paladin. Verdant Rebirth, although the creatures we're bringing back to our hand aren't that good. Trust in the main deck here. If we curve out, we can still do well against this. On the play, with this hand doesn't have much going for it, except the ability to draw white mana. Uh-oh, now we need white and green. And red, or any color. Alright, so it looks like we're not going to win. But that does happen. Oh, that's pretty cool that they had to play a 2/2. I'm just going to trade with it here. It's so unlikely that we get a dinosaur in time to be relevant. And I'm so afraid of their raid triggers, to be honest. Just keep them off of blockers for now. Pirates Pillage. So we have one turn where we can get in there. And another awkward Shake the Foundations here. We could use it to help draw land, but that kills our 1/1. And they're going to play a 1 toughness thing this next turn, you watch. Oh, I have to do it though. Because we can't win this game when they're on 7 cards and 7 mana, unless we do something relevant. Let's get the Buccaneers out. I know we can bombard the Spirewinder, but we can always do that. And finding a land is nice. Maybe there's a chance. So here they bounce something or copy something. Or just play a big enough blocker that they don't care. Mutiny is fine. And Stormfleet Arsonist is not fine. That is not okay. Well, shucks. Get rid of this. Because what I really want to do this turn is the Raptor and bombard the 4/4 so we don't have to run into that. Yeah, I don't want to sack a land there. That's a pretty good Stormfleet Arsonist, to be honest. If I'm perfectly honest with you. Get our big guy into play, and next turn we'll have the 6 mana for Crash the Ramparts plus Squire's Devotion, so that'll be nice to run into a bounce effect. Or it's moot. Gross. All the bombards. I see why they're in the finals. We can't really see their record, but it's likely we're playing against another 2-0. Heliopterus. Majestic Heliopterus and Squire's Devotion. And they'll get the city's blessing this turn, so we can't really block yet. No, another bombard. This ship is loaded. They don't give up. They just keep bombarding us. Bombarding all of our Voltron creatures. But I'll tell you what. 3, 4, 5. We need to attack here. And we need to crash the ramparts. We did it. We survived. Maybe another turn. So now they play Burning Sun's Avatar. No, maybe not. Or Buccaneer's Bravado. Yes. Good stuff. Menace, flying. We just got destroyed here. A good showing from their deck, and may the most bombards win. Thanks for watching. Good luck in your drafts.